Hey, everybody, welcome back to Roosters on Olentangy River Road in a beautiful Columbus, Ohio. I don't care if it's raining outside.
Beautiful.
Don't worry about that. It's game week. Anything will be just fine with me. This is Lettermen Live. This is Michael Bennett, Justin Zwick, our good friend Nicole Cox from Roosters, and Anthony Schlegel, the difference, you know him. Look at him. You caught us in the middle of our meal. We're getting ready for the season opener on Saturday, Ohio State and Nebraska. Schlegs is not just going with the mac and cheese bites this week because he had to go into the test kitchen, find out that it's $2 Tuesdays coming up with mozzarella sticks.
Yep.
Mike Bennett has already dove in. He's going to add it to his personal blog where he rates mozz sticks.
So good.
Schlegs, you got to break it apart. Show them the stringies.
Right here, look out. Look at that.
Look at the steam coming out.
The steam come out. We're shooting a commercial here. We're shooting a commercial here. We didn't even know it.
That is some sexy cheese. I'm
So
just
good.
going to say it. You get that on Tuesdays for $2.
What a steal that is. Are you
This
so
week's
Good week.
mozzarella
This week.
sticks. Yep.
Bring in, get yourself some Roosters bucks. Come in on Tuesday. Get ready.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched Lettermen Live yet, just watch it tomorrow. This doesn't even make sense because you're probably already going to have seen it. But rewind it. And then, Nicole, get ready for Saturday. We didn't know for sure 2 months ago if there was going to be a season at all, but now
Guys, I always said there was going to be a season.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there.
Positivity coming from Nicole.
her bold predictions. Mark, she
All
wrote that
along.
down that Nicole always gets it right with the bold predictions. And I asked you this last week, but you just have to remind people. So there's not going to be any fans in the horseshoe on Saturday, but the game starts at noon and Roosters opens when?
We open 11 a.m.
Okay.
And so, 2020 has been a year of learning for all of us. So I think, this year everybody will just be creative and kind of have their own Buckeye celebrations at home or in the restaurants. So obviously we're open for dine-in, but carry out as well. So people can, take their food home and have, safe social distancing neighbors over and things like that. It'll be a unique Buckeye season, but I think it'll be great because the Buckeyes are playing. We'll never take that for granted again.
I'm going to have to be in there at 9, so unfortunately I can't get my Roosters to go so I can be ready for kickoff. But I'll be thinking about it for everybody who gets to have it at home for their tailgates. I know Schlegs will be loading up. Maybe mozz sticks, maybe the mac and cheese bites.
Everything is so good.
Got him caught. All right, guys, let's just start right with it. For the things that we're most excited to see, Ohio State, Nebraska at noon on Saturday. You three are going to stay with me for the whole show, so Nicole has to go first.
Okay.
Pressure.
What are you most excited to see this weekend, Nicole?
Guys, I'm just so excited. There's a season. I'm just really excited about that.
That's a great answer.
Yes, it is.
I think, too, I'm excited to see Trey Sermon, the transfer from Oklahoma running back.
Whoa.
And, yes, like him and Master Teague, I feel like they have really big shoes to fill with J.K. Dobbins being gone. So it should be good to see.
How do you even follow up on that?
Big time
She
analysis
stole my
right there.
answer.
She should be over here just
She
hosting the
stole
rest
my
of
I
the
was going
show.
to use that today.
I don't know why we're acting surprised. She knew there was going to be a season.
Guys, I did.
She already predicted last week that Ohio State wasn't going to lose all year. So mark those down, Schlegs. That's running back. That's where she's watching.
You know why she's doing that? Because she knows how to put out some appetizers. And, the fact that these mac and cheese bites actually look like little mini footballs.
Yes.
They're so fun.
See, now that we've reworked the set, you can actually flick it down here.
Right.
Although you like to eat them more than I do, so I'll just flick them into your mouth.
There we go.
So good.
Unless we have to move around the set, which Jay-Z suggested this. So this is the Letterman Lounge. He's still not 100% pleased with it, but at least I get to see everybody's
It's a start.
face.
We get to see what it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, a process.
We're going to add some signs.
Yeah.
And if Zach Boren if he takes another 2 months off from
taking out the
coming on the
trash.
show.
Do I have Zach Boren
we're
looking
getting
over
rid
down
of,
here?
Yeah, we're getting rid of some of this.
That guy's been on vacation for like 3 months. I feel bad. Does he even work? I don't know.
Hey, he's living the dream.
We can just see him around town. It's the same picture. Like, I wonder if he gets tired of seeing it. 'cause
Nope.
I
he
would
does-
say he
no,
doesn't.
no,
Jack-
no.
Jack Bourne
It's
does
going to be a
not.
huge wall mural in his house.
if not already.
So, Schlegs, Nicole wants to see the tailbacks. When you look at that, we know if Beanie Wells was in here, as he's been for a lot of Letterman Lives at Roosters, he would say you need one guy. I think they're both going to play this week. What are you expecting with that carry breakdown? What do you want to see in that backfield?
I don't care as long as they run the football. I mean, the biggest thing to me is you can't run the football unless you have a really good offensive line. And we've seen in the NFL, like even this week, you saw Swift and you saw Adrian Peterson, right? So you got a guy like Swift went over 100 yards. Peterson, he's on my fantasy team. Guess what? I still got like 12 points out of him. Boom, go Bucks. But I really don't care because that's up to them. If somebody gets hot, like let them go. And we saw I think, earlier with J.K. and Mike Weber, and we really didn't like it because just like playing any position, you got to get in the flow of the game. I think it's a little bit different for wide receivers, but The running back, I think you need to get in the flow a little bit. So it's going to be how do they want to utilize them. And if Trey's the type of guy that, he can get out in the flat and create mismatches and he's in that particular personnel, or Master Teague is more of your finisher, short yardage guy, I don't even know. I don't really care because I want to see Harry Miller. I want to see Thayer Munford in his senior year. I want to see Wyatt Davis, Josh Myers, and Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. I want to see those guys because regardless of who you put back there, that offensive line is elite, one of the best in the country. So whoever you put back there is going to have success. So to me, go Bucks.
I think it's actually amazing that Master Teague is even ready to go. I mean, you think back to, before all this started, a couple practices they had before spring or for spring practice. And Achilles is no joke.
On day one,
I played pickleball last Thursday. I'm still sore. I mean, and that was pickleball. I couldn't imagine coming back in that short of a time period from an Achilles, something that you use as as an athlete to push off of. So I think that is awesome. I can't wait to see him get out there and be full steam, but there's also something you said. This transfer coming in, the excitement around the unknown, because he wasn't with us before last year. So it's exciting. But like Schlegel said, they're going to run the ball behind that big offensive line. We saw it last year, I think, where Ryan would go into games saying, "We're going to take control of this line of scrimmage. We're going to do what we want to do." And I think you can use both those backs. I don't think it has to be one over the other. Just put them in wherever they fit best in the offense, and that's how they do things. They put these guys in the best positions to be good and move the ball, and I trust that coaching staff hands down.
It's interesting when you're talking about like that new toy, and it's a transfer. They don't often come in with 25 career touchdowns for another college football playoff level program. I mean, that's rare that you're going to have an impact kind of player coming in. I think that's why Nicole's talking about it. Like, there's so much anticipation for him. We've seen Master Teague. We know that he can take the next step, and we want to see how healthy he is coming off the Achilles, Mike. But, this other guy, he's a proven commodity, and then how does that fit with what you want to do with the rest of the offense? And to Schlegel's point, if you're going to run behind those big guys, probably I could get 4 or 5 yards of pop behind that offense.
I believe you're cutting yourself short.
All right, maybe 3. All right.
Pump the brakes.
Three yards in a cloud of dust.
Choking on some mott sticks. I didn't.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for you averaging 4 or 5 yards.
And I was.
That's how good the offensive line is, Schlegs. Okay. I'm not. It's not because I think I'm a world-class running back.
Okay.
I believe in you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. You'd be all right.
Like you guys have said, that offensive line is. I think they're going to be the best offensive line in college football this year. I'm a little bit more hesitant about Master Teague. I think Trey's going to get that start, and he's going to get an opportunity to establish himself. But like Justin said, Achilles isn't something small. The fact that he's been able to come back in it's been 6 months.
Yeah. First day of practice in March.
To me, I had always understood that the Achilles was minimum a year. And it's not like, a muscle that you can just work it out a little bit more and maybe you come back. It's just a tendon. Is it connected? Is it not? So the fact that he's been able to recover this quickly is incredibly inspiring. It's an impressive, but I would really hope that someone's keeping an eye on his reps and someone's really, telling this young man not to push himself, because I'm not even going to talk about, I don't want to put any bad juju in the air, but they need to be careful with him. Like, I get that he wants to come back and he wants to contribute to the team, and nobody likes sitting out a season, but it is far more important as a football player to stay healthy than it is and fully recover than it is to rush back and then potentially re-injure.
I want to say something to Austin's point. And again, this is why it's Lettermen Row. We're just talking, right? It's just dudes and a young lady right here talking about football. But let's not get lost on the new and the shiny, right? Because Master Teague is a known commodity because he was the third-team Big Ten running back last year.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Michael, on the fact that, like, Tough Borland came back after 6 months off of Achilles. Was he really the Tough Borland that we thought, sideline to sideline guy? He still ran really well. Everybody wanted to look at that and say, oh, that's the why. But Master Teague has been proven. I mean, he ran behind J.K. Dobbins. We also ran behind this offensive line. And J.K. Dobbins, 2,000-yard rusher. Master Teague, 7+. There were some games there at the end of the year we would have liked to have seen him rush for some more, but he still had over 700 yards on very limited duty and was a third-team All-Big Ten as the backup. So the beauty of this is that we have options. Just like we have in the wide receiver room, we have options of unknown commodities with a lot of what ifs, and the potential is there. Same thing with Trey Sermon. So that's why you got to kind of let it play out, because I know you don't get to go watch practice. I know for sure that we haven't been able to go watch practice. So until we see it live, and then how they're going to actually utilize them, because I believe Justin Fields is still going to have an integral part in this offense as far as running the football. Not to the extent that Urban Meyer would have ran him, but he's still going to have an impact. And I kind of look at it as almost that Chubb and Hunt combination that we have up in Cleveland, right? So they're able to take the load off, but we also know what they like to do. Cleveland has revamped everything. They went away from the inside zone. They want to get their guys on the perimeter. I can see a lot of that going on here, but it all starts up front with the push that our offensive line will be able to give.
We can actually get into that a lot more, but Nicole doesn't want to hang out with us for the entire show. She actually has
Why?
real. She has she has a real job, and we can't just have a fun, casual conversation all day like we can. So I have to get the second part because Nicole's predictions are so accurate. Now she's got to give the score prediction. I know she's been watching the spread. We're going to save ours till the end because that's Monday. That's the way Lettermen Lives works for us. But I know she's been pouring over the gambling lines. She knows what happened in last year's matchup.
I've been thinking about it all day.
I know you have. All right,
and the spread, I think, was at 26 when I got here. So,
she's tied in.
So I'm going to say, and this is just like my gut feeling, but I feel like 38-7 Buckeyes.
A little bit tighter than last year out in Lincoln, which 48-7, but it's the opener. Maybe
knocking off the rust, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first game. Yeah. Everybody's going to kind of work into it. So.
Well, I mean,
that's a good score.
She spent all morning working on it.
So
who are we to argue about it? Nicole Cox from Roosters. We're going to let her out. She's probably going to go get another basket
$2
of
Tuesdays. $2 Tuesdays.
Yes.
$2 appetizers.
So
this week it's
that
mozzarella sticks.
Changes every week, Nicole?
Yes, changes every week. So next week is mac and cheese bites. Schlegel just for you. Yes. So we'll have a table full of mac and cheese bites.
I will devour them all.
We'll have Berm down there. We'll actually have our it's got to go for the Roosters Foundation. We'll just see you guys go to work. You need to work out the details for the mac and cheese.
I love it. Yes.
I'm going to have to work out.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a real change.
No doubt.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back here on Lettermen Live, brought to you by Roosters.
Roosters is one of the unique companies that we deal with. They're involved in everything we do, from our personal foundation to also the Cancer Research Fund. And that's from the Buckeye Cruise from Cancer to all the events leading up to the Buckeye Cruise.
They donate back to different organizations that are near and dear to their heart. And we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long, long time.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
All right, welcome back to Lettermen Live. It is officially a game week. Thank God for that. It's been so long. You know, even though in reality it's only been, 6-7 weeks since they would have had the original opener, since it's 2020, it feels like it's been 100 years since
Still
Ohio
March,
State
isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So early.
I don't know what's going on. And everybody else having played 3, 4, 5 games just adds to, the anticipation for this week. Guys, I'm just really excited that we finally get to see Ohio State play, compare them to the rest of the team. Maybe the rankings will actually matter again on Sunday instead of the nonsense that's happened. So beyond the running backs, Saturday at noon, what do you want to see?
I'm going to say I think this last weekend was a perfect example of why we need Ohio State football. You get the Bengals who come out and get your hopes up and then get shellacked. And then you get the Browns, who people are like, are they going to beat the Steelers this year? It's been 17 years, and that was wrapped up in the first 7 minutes of the game. And now we get to go on Saturdays, Ohioans. We get to watch Ohio State football with as close to a guarantee of victory as you can get.
We get to watch a winner on Saturday.
We get winning again. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see all these individual players that Ohio State has. I want to see how the defense is going to do, who's going to step up in the D-line room. I want winning associated with Ohio again.
It's just for the great state of Ohio. Now, when you say close to a guaranteed win, that's just because of Ohio State's ceiling or because you think Nebraska is still down here in the Rutgers level at the basement?
Oh, yeah, I applied that to every week of the season. I just think Ohio State has the opportunity every single week, the true opportunity to not just win but to blow teams out. Like, yeah, you get into those closer games, anything can happen, whatever. But Ohio State has shown for a considerable amount of time now that, for the vast majority of the games – it's not going to be that close. And even with those close games, do you really think we're going to lose?
Yeah, really, since Urban's got here, or when he came into town, it was, all right, we're better on paper than everybody we play.
Yeah.
And that's just continuing now. So, and the last 5 years or whatever it's been, we thought that, and then we went out and played that way for the most part. So, I don't think that changes whatsoever. I think the excitement of, this team and, going into this season, this was going to be a big year. We thought maybe last year was the Clemson game got us, but coming back, Justin Fields coming back, second year, first time Ryan Day's had a quarterback do that. I mean, it's just a lot of things were falling into place, and man, the excitement of it's finally here, and we're going to get to see it all come together on Saturday is huge. And I'm going to take it one step further than Mike. I'm just excited to see Big Ten football back. Because you sit around on Saturday and you're like, all right, what am I watching here?
Mm-hmm.
I guess,
Louisville, Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's just like, gosh, it's like, shoot me in the head.
God.
Just give me something that I know. I need Midwestern football, and I think it's great to have the Big Ten back. And even that Michigan-Minnesota game, I would much rather watch that game than Georgia-Alabama almost. To an extent.
ACC football is
hang on. I just vomited in my mouth.
an embarrassment. I'm sitting there.
Wash that down.
What do we got? So we got one more weekend, and I'm sitting there. I'm looking for something to watch. And I know that the whole country's not playing, but this is the best we can do.
Mm-hmm.
You're ranking Notre Dame at number 4.
Oh my gosh!
Now number 3.
Louisville. Yeah,
Did you watch some of that game? I mean, you couldn't watch the whole thing because it was terrible.
That's a real problem.
I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here.
That's a real problem.
I'm taking the kid. I can't let her watch this. She loves football. This isn't football.
This is
Your
gonna
number
ruin her.
4 ranked team beat an unranked team by 5 points, and we're going to say that that's accurate.
In Louisville, let's go back and let's just follow this rabbit hole. So Georgia Tech beats Louisville at the beginning of the year, and then Clemson beat Georgia Tech 73-7. And then now the number 3 team in the country beat that same type Louisville, who had only won one victory, 12-7 at their place. And they're still number 3. And Georgia moves down one spot, who is really literally starting a backup quarterback that's on scholarship that threw 3 picks, and they didn't score any points in the second half, completely gone, but yet they're still up there. And really, like on morning radio, we're talking about who's the next potential to have 2 teams from their conference be in the college football playoff? And it's like, okay, well, really the one that stands out is the SEC, because you could have a 1-loss A&M that plays nobody for the rest of their season. Georgia goes on and potentially loses to Florida. Florida plays Alabama. Alabama beats them. Now they all got 2 losses, and you got an Alabama and a Texas A&M, and that's what we're talking about because we don't have Big Ten football.
Yeah.
Garbaggio.
That scenario, I think that's always the worst case, is talking about them trying to cram in SEC teams. I really felt like over the weekend with the way Georgia lost, and it didn't reflect in Sunday's polls, that rules out the East.
It didn't reflect at all.
I know. That to me, by the end of the year, once you have – I thought the big winner on Saturday night was actually the Pac-12, with the door being open. If whether it's Oregon or USC, if they could go undefeated.
It looked good.
It looked good, yeah.
But I don't think that's as
way
impressive as a 1-loss SEC or Big Ten team. Because especially now that all of these teams are resigned to their respective conferences, this is when that debate of whose conference is worth more is huge. We didn't have those feel-out games in the beginning of the season where it's good on good from separate conferences. So now everyone's like, Clemson is just this godsend. I got no doubt Clemson's got the talent. Who cares how many people they beat in the ACC? Yeah. Same with Oregon. Like they wax the Pac-10 every year. That's not impressive to me. And I think the Big Ten and the SEC, I don't know if it's my own personal bias, but it's harder to consistently win in those leagues than in the other leagues. I mean, you have your outliers just like any other league, but it's still, you have at least 3 or 4 teams that can kind of throw a wrench in the plans at any point. So I don't know how they're going to do this. Everybody's always felt that there was an SEC bias. I don't see any reason that all of a sudden there wouldn't be.
Yeah, I just thought Georgia in all likelihood now is going to have 2 losses at the end of the year. So maybe we're talking about a 1-loss Penn State or an undefeated Pac-12 champion, which can help fight against
State, the OSU of the Southwest.
I just don't even believe that that's a possible outcome. Yeah,
the mullet. He's 40.
If anyone wants to gamble
by now, right?
on Mike Gundy going undefeated, help yourself. But I'm not going to be in that boat.
Just like Mike Leach.
Yeah. Well,
is he like Mike Leach for you?
How's that looking? I'm in the right on Mike Leach.
It's been rough.
I'm in the right on Mike
First
Leach.
Game was exciting.
They already
maybe, but
they already want him gone. And
no, they don't.
Yes, they do. They're absolutely as
you would
Vegas, man. Garbaggio.
They love that place. They love that man.
They thought they did. They thought they had a Heisman
idea
quarterback
of him.
Yeah. And then how did it work out for him? Nice outing at Kentucky, Mike Leach, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Pour some
Don't
offensive
sleep on
Kentucky,
the Wildcats, baby.
How about Kentucky beating Tennessee
Yeah.
and their head coach
that's
going and drinking
First time
some
since
bourbon,
'84.
drinking some bourbon and smoking a cigar when he gets home. It's
That
amazing.
should tell you how good the SEC is when Kentucky's winning by 27 points on Rocky Top.
Hey, I will say this. So going back to Ohio State, because
Let's get back to the Bucks. It's game week.
Because everybody else is,
We're hating right
yeah, we're hating on them, and they don't matter because we just got to handle our business. For me, looking at this offensively, I'm going to take the offensive line and the other side. Let's go look at the wide receivers because I'm excited to see Chris Olave coming off that Clemson game, being the leader of this room, has proven it. You got Garrett Wilson, who we know has a ton of potential, has already showcased it. But then you got Jackson right there, I believe. What is he playing, like the slot?
Yeah, he can move. He can pretty much play any of those three positions. But
any of them. And then you also have all the other 4- and 5-star wide receivers that are in that room. It's like that type of rotation, because really Brian Hartline has the most difficult room as in the wide receiver room because they're competing against one another for playing time. But he also got them to where they all commit at the same time, and they know that competition breeds excellence. We're going to go out there and do it. So, but how can I show what I can do if I don't get any reps or balls thrown my way? So he has the most difficult job of not politics, but just making sure everybody is ready to go, and when called upon, they can respond and be able to make a play. So offensively, excited to see that. I love my linebackers. Excited to see Pete Werner actually be the will, because I think in the box is where he translates to the next level. And I'm also anxious to see how they use Baron Browning potentially in that, bullet position. And how do we stay in base like we did last year quite a bit, and have Barron be that guy that could play, if they're an 11 personnel, play outside of the tight end or flex him or blitz him, right, and maybe be the middle guy. We don't know that. So just kind of how they're going to orchestrate that, because I have total confidence that Kerry Combs, and by the way, I want to see the secondary, but I'll just stay with my linebackers.
Is there any other position, or you just want?
I went wide receivers. I want to see them all.
receivers.
But that's what happens when you.
He started by saying he wanted to talk about the offensive line, and then he didn't.
He just wants to see the team out there. He just wants to see the Scarlet and Gray on the field.
I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
I wish you had gone through the whole lineup, but we had time.
I could do them all.
I know you
pace,
can.
Pace, and angles, all sports.
Attack and dominate.
Just like analysts, right? We can pace, make, let's go through it then, because you're a D lineman, and who's it going to be on the defensive end? Jonathan Cooper, Friday, Harrison, Tyreek Smith. We kind of got that, right? So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up. I mean, they could potentially be a Rushman package like we saw with Sam Hubbard and Tyquan Lewis, where they're playing the interior linemen if it's not a run situation. But who really is going to step up besides what we heard of Tommy Togiai in the middle, right, and having that depth? Go ahead, Mike. Attack and dominate.
Do the guys in that room hate it when they call the Rushman package and the defensive tackles are getting pushed to the side?
I mean, as a defensive, everybody knows that sacks are, their currency.
They're
as
sexy.
A defensive lineman.
They're sexy.
Right. That's the only time that people actually look at our faces. So, but if you're, if you aren't a good pass rusher and you have guys that have been proving themselves as good pass rushers, you are an asshole if you are going to fight to stay on that field. Sure. And I get it. I get you want to get your sacks, but if you don't know how to pass rush, get your big butt off the field and let those 245, 265-pound guys go eat. And I would assume that we'll have another Rushman package. We got a lot of strong defensive ends this year and a lot of unproven defensive tackles.
Right.
I think that those defensive tackles are going to step up. They don't have a choice, so I'd be very disappointed if an Ohio State defensive tackle didn't fill the shoes that were left for him. But that Rushman package is dangerous, and Coach Johnson knows how to put it to good use. And we've got a lot of guys who can go heat up that quarterback and are going to want it, or they're going to be hungry. They got to make a name for themselves. Jonathan Cooper doesn't have another year to make a name for himself, and so he's going to be hustling. And I mean, Haskell, I think he's going to have a good year. I don't know if he's healthy yet. I don't know how long it takes to recover.
Yeah,
from
there's a lot of intrigue going into Friday with the Ryan Day has brought in this availability report, which has provided a lot more clarity to injury situations than maybe in the past, where it was shrouded in mystery until Saturday. So we got to find out about Haskell Garrett, and Teron Vincent has been dealing with that shoulder still since last year. Those are the two guys that been in the program for a while. Teron Vincent was the #1 defensive tackle recruit in the country a couple years ago, missed all of last season. And taking those two out, that stretched the depth a little bit at that position.
Yeah, I would say I've never been shot in the face before. I would say he's probably in the next. And it's been 2 months now.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it would take much longer to recover from that. I don't know what he was limited by during his recovery. You know, teeth, whatever. I'm not going to even try to imagine, but I would assume that he isn't far off on returning to play. And that's another young man who knew that he had an opportunity to start coming in this year. You would have hoped that he had a monster a monster winter and a monster spring to really fill those shoes. Because if you're a starter,
was a dog.
Yeah, if you're a starter at Ohio State or if you're a potential starter at Ohio State, you know that not only do you have Ohio State looking at you, you have an opportunity to go to the NFL and make a decent amount of money. And I would be blown away if somebody didn't take that opportunity seriously. So I think the defensive tackles are going to be okay. I know the defensive ends are going to be okay. It's going to be exciting to see this whole defense come together, especially with a lot of unproven young men.
Do you think the fact that they've kind of been through this on the defensive line side of the ball where they have just tons of players and it's kind of like, hey, we're going to play all you guys. So it's not just like, hey, you're coming out, they're going in. It's like, hey, we've talked about this all camp or all spring practice. We're rotating you cats, and there's no real starter per se. I feel like that would, if you knew going into the season or you knew that this was the plan, I'm not going to be getting every snap at D tackle. They're going to bring and mix it around. That's got to help you guys a little bit, right? So, as far as coming off the field and not being pissed off about it, where it's like, I wanted to be on there, like you understand a little bit more.
Yeah, I talked to Austin about it a little bit more. I would not like that. As a defensive player or as a player in general, yeah, the communication is good and the fact that they have a system in place for it, but you should want to be that every down player.
Yeah.
And especially if you've earned your starting spot and they're like, oh, instead of putting him as a starter, we're going to say him or him. No. I worked for that.
Bad.
I beat this person out.
Yes.
Put my name first. If he wants to beat me out, his name can be first. Yeah. And you can still be friends while you do it.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I really don't like the linebacker thing. To me, you shouldn't take 7 people to play 3 positions. But if you got young guys, if you got unproven guys, if you got guys who are, a little bit, not as good at this specific thing, you do what you got to do. That's a testament to the coaching. But to me, it's a personal affront. If they took me out during pass rush situations, I'm in there 2-3 hours a day now working on pass rush, so they can't pull me off the field, and vice versa with run stopping.
I think that what you got now at Ohio State is really a strength for them, is that you have a guy in Kerry Combs who went and coached in the NFL. You have, obviously, Larry Johnson, who is the best in the business at what he does. Greg Madison has a lot of years, right? Al Washington has been around the block, really good young coach. They're going to put their guys in the best position to succeed. So, matter of fact, as we were talking about this Rushman package, what better opportunity? Because, again, it's about fits. And this all goes back to recruiting, right? It has to go back to the Orr thing. I'm with you, Mike. I had it even my junior year. Absolutely attacking and dominating versus, 12 tackles in 3 quarters, and you're going to pull me out for a special package. Like, what? Honestly, I almost fought Snides at the end of the game. Like, my wife was there, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to kill this guy.
It should feel like disrespect.
Right? Because it was disrespectful because I was playing fantastic, and nothing against Marcus Freeman, who they put in there, but, like, they won the football game, and I felt like I did everything I should. I just let me go, right? Because I was playing great. So, but I think that when you have specific talent, like in a Baron Browning per se, when you go and you recruit the very best of the best, they're not always going to fit your system because we also have this recruiting, this perception that's reality that we have the best class. Not everybody is going to fit your system all the time. So you have to be a little bit creative as to how that particular person could add value. And with Barron being able to rush the passer along with the D ends that we have, and potentially a Tommy Togiai be in the nose, and moving John Coop Dog into a 3 technique, and then moving those other guys outside and being able to have him be a spy or a move around type end guy, it opens up to allow them to accentuate, I don't know if that's the right word, but to showcase, that's a better one, their abilities, right? And like, hey, listen, I know you don't necessarily fit us, but we can showcase your talent during different packages because we've done it before, right? I think that's always what the New England Patriots have done well. They look at the talent of the guys that they have, and then we're going to adjust what we do accordingly because that's going to give us the best opportunity to succeed, as opposed to what we saw in 2018. We're going to play man, and we're just going to do this. Yeah. And then even though you guys aren't built for that and it's hurting us, just go play zone? No, that's not what we're going to do. We're just going to play man because that's what we do at Ohio State. That's the absolutely wrong approach. That's not being flexible. And flexibility is the key to air power, just in case you guys didn't know.
You know, I've always loved you guys, but the fact that you're on the media side with hating a depth chart that has oars on it just warms my journalism.
Do you like
I don't understand
I hate oars because, you know, sometimes we get accused of like, oh, you guys are just trying to pry information. You're going to hurt the game plan.
How are we going to hurt the game plan, bro?
Like, we know who's going to step on the field. Okay, like putting the oar on there, I'd never really thought about it from the player's perspective because it seemed to be...
That was beautifully articulated, by the way, because I completely concur.
Because it seemed to be a move that was like, all right, well, we also, you know, we think that these guys are starting caliber and we're going to give them, you know, the nod. You know, we're going to lump them together because they're going to play so much. And those guys do play a bunch of snaps. Like, when Denzel Ward was the third corner in, he played the same amount of snaps as Garyon Conley and Marshawn Lattimore. Kerry Combs wanted to call them 3 starters. Okay, fine. I get that. But that doesn't mean that he was an oar with, you know, the 4th or 5th corner on the depth chart. I think that really started when teams were trying to hide who their starting quarterback was so that you could, you know, if one was a dual threat and one was a pocket passer, then you had to prepare for both. And then it started spreading to other positions. And I don't see what the value is to say, you know, guess what? There's going to be 6 different receivers on the field, and they're all bracketed together as starters. Like,
listen, man, I've heard, you know, I think there was some of it happening when I was in college, not at Ohio State, but in the NFL I see it too. When you, like you said, you got 3 guys for 2 positions, and like, oh, that third guy's a starter too. You know, he's really good. He's not. He's a great 6th man, but he's not a starter on this football team, and that shouldn't be a knock on that guy. If your pride is that slow, is that, you know, is that at risk, that then you need to get better. You can beat these guys out, or you need to wait for your year and then you know, become a starter. But I don't think it serves anybody any good to coddle, especially these young men, to coddle them and be like, "Oh, you're good enough to be a starter at Ohio State." It's just these guys are really good too. Like, no, if you were good enough to be a starter at Ohio State, then you would beat that man out for his job. And there are other ways. Like, I understand if someone's a starter in nickel or starter in base, that's different. But at the same time, like, okay, if that team comes out in a heavy wide receivers package and you're usually the base nose guard and you're not the starter of that game, that's tough. You know your responsibility, understand where you fit into the team, but the pride tied up in it, like, to me, it's just it's ridiculous to – I don't know why they do it. If it's to coddle players, if it's to confuse other people. I don't know what their actual –
a combination of confusion and recruiting in a way.
Yeah.
In a strange way, probably. Some, you know, down the –
There's a reason why they have the 6th man award in basketball. He's not a starter.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so we recognize a non-starter for what he contributes off the bench.
Give them
There's starters. There's 11 on each side.
At least there's not going to be an or at quarterback, Jay-Z.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, there's no or there. I've always hated that too.
Do you think that Georgia is missing that?
I wasn't sure if you were going to tap in here. Or not.
Do you think that Georgia was missing that guy in that last game?
Golly.
Do I think he was?
No. Do you think they were?
Do you think all of last year they were missing that guy?
But you know what, though? This is where it comes down to, like, Dabo when he made the switch to Trevor Lawrence. Like, he knew the caliber. He had the opportunity to do the same thing. We got a senior in Fromm, and we got this stud in Justin Fields. But we're going to go with the senior, tried and true, as opposed to playing the talent and developing him because he's going to give us our best opportunity to succeed. Right? And they didn't do it. And even here, I remember in 2011, man, absolutely dog crap. Like, you had Braxton Miller and Bowserman. Like, just play the cat because he's just so athletic. At least he gives you an opportunity to win. You know, and he's going to develop and will probably get better over the course of the season. Don't play that guy. You don't owe anybody anything. They have all the opportunity in the world to prove themselves. Right? So they missed that boat.
Yeah.
Guess what? Buckeyes did it. Go Bucks.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't, but they didn't really have much of an option when Justin Fields came in last year, right? I mean, he was going to be their guy.
Who?
Ohio State.
No, I'm talking about Georgia made a mistake.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it, yeah.
No, man, when he came to Ohio State, we knew he was going to be the guy.
But do you remember Clemson did it? I mean, what was the guy's name, the quarterback? That was
it was
before
Trevor
Lawrence. I know
it
wasn't Taj Boyd. That's who I wanted to say.
Kelly Bryant.
Yeah, but he had just had a great year the year before, right? And they're like, hey, he's coming back. He's our guy. And then, we start throwing this kid in. Like, man, this guy's got an arm. He seems
just more talent. Listen,
and he had more talent, and that's what Dabo did a good job of doing there. Fortunately, yes, we don't have that here. We have our guy, and from what it sounds like, nobody's really seen practice, but it sounds like, man, he's really, got into this playbook and got into the whole coaching scheme and what's going on with Ryan Day's head, all of his coaches. understanding the offense and why they're calling things and what they're thinking when they do, which as a quarterback, gosh, I mean, you get that call and you're like, oh, I'm going to go deep here. But then if you know and you're in tune with your head coach or your quarterback coach or offense coordinator, that's not what they want me to do. They want me to do this.
Right.
I mean, that's why they're calling this play in this situation, because I know that. I've talked to them about why we call these certain things or what I need to be looking for. So I think that, part is huge. And, a lot of people love to say they do that kind of thing in the offseason. So, I mean, we'll see, and during the season if we see a bunch of him making changes or, talking with the coaches on the sidelines of, just this, that sort of conversation throughout a game. But, sounds legit. We know the kid was special. I mean, he threw, 2-3 interceptions last year?
One in the regular season.
Yeah, and then 2, in the playoffs. But, that's going to be hard to what I don't want to see is he comes out and throws 2 picks in this game on Saturday, and everybody, you know how it goes.
Nobody's gonna do that.
They did that to Trevor Lawrence last year, I felt like a little bit. It's just they set that standard so high that, gosh, you really expect this guy to do that again? I mean, it's football. Stuff happens. But, I'm excited to see him. I mean, he's got so many weapons. Starts with that offensive line that Schlegel had talked about. I mean, anytime you're coming into a year where you just are stacked, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your whole entire playbook. It's all depending on that point. What are they giving me? There's 4 down linemen. They're playing 2 safeties. I'm going to run the ball. We got 2 backs that can just come right downhill on you. If they're stacking, we're going outside. We got all kinds of playmakers. So I can't wait to see if they give him the keys to the car almost and say, here's a couple options. Go out and get us in the best spot and, play your game. So that's exciting.
It's also great for his development because he's in year 2, right? Dwayne Haskins only had 1 year, and now this is his 2nd year. Yeah. And what Ryan Day and his staff do so well is they teach the why of the concepts, right? I mean, it's great to understand, if D linemen understand the run fits and why I got to be in this gap. And, okay, we're running Bama or we're running, tight 1 buck, right? And it's 1 back, 1 gap. All right, I'm in a shade. I got to hold this A gap. Why? Because we're building a wall because I have a linebacker fitting here. I have another linebacker fitting here. I got a safety coming down and filling this. You understand the concept is why I got to do my job. And that way I can't go backdooring a guy. So my teammate is trusting me. Same thing with them. We saw it even in Baker. Play 3 when he got picked. Playing 1 robber. He didn't take a pre-snap read, right? He saw the guy coming down. I don't throw that slant. I throw the follow.
MMIH.
Right? Yeah.
Made mind in huddle. Yeah. He knew where he was throwing that ball. Didn't care if that safety was going to stay there or not.
But see, if once you understand, and then I'm able to take, okay, here's why we're doing what we're doing, and then I'm able to see what they're doing and have those pre-snap indicators, okay, here's the depth of the safety. We do the same thing as a linebacker or a D lineman. You're looking at the stance. Is this guy going to pass at me? Is he going to run block? Look at the split between the center and the guard. Okay, he's trying to get a B block. Go up to the 2nd level. Oh, I'm looking at the
pressure on the fingers,
right.
or no pressure.
I'm looking at
I've never played D line, but I feel like that's something.
Everybody's playing pace. I mean, they're playing ace pistol, right? So what's the depth of the running back behind the quarterback, or is that offset back? Is he close? Is he wide? He's probably going out. If he's wide, there's only going to be 2 things. One, he's not running to this side, so it's either going to be a draw, or he's going to go out and edge protect, or he's going to go out and create quads. Then I'm saying, hey, 4 first crosser to AJ, boom, I'm going to go push to the 3. Those are all the things that you go through, but you only know that once you've been in them, and then you understand the concepts, and then you get back to the basics of alignment, assignment, alerts, and adjustment. The biggest thing will be how fast can they play.
You think Schleg's ready for Saturday or what?
Well,
you need to chill on the Arnold Palmer's. It's too much sugar.
So much sugar.
I had my favorite
I didn't
here.
catch that one line. It was so fast.
I know. I had my Italian sub. I had an entire thing of
mac and cheese. No, those are mozz sticks. That's mac and cheese bites.
Tuesdays, mozzarella sticks for $2.
Yeah, he's getting after.
Well, I broke my fast, and when I break my,
a sign is your order. Alignment is putting it on the table. Yes. Execution is down the hatch.
Assignment alerts that they're
That's
gone.
That's the marinara sauce.
And then adjust. Drink some more Arnold Palmer. Hey, to-go box. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
I know you're excited, Schleg. So
I'm juiced. What can I say? Popping pecs.
A lot of people are here in town, in Ohio, in the state of Ohio.
I'm pretty excited that next week on Lettermen Live we're going to get to break down a game that actually happened and not project what's going to happen, but we do get to make predictions. Nicole already made hers.
That was a good prediction.
Yeah,
it was very sharp. She's paying attention to the betting odds. She's,
gosh, we got to do better.
I think she's trying to take my job, but
yeah, I know. You better watch out.
I'm going to.
I'm going to
That's why I'm going to keep everyone on this side of the table so that this is where I sit.
Smart.
Clear line of demarcation.
Yeah.
You're gonna come in next week. There's gonna be a big red chair.
Yeah.
That's, like the LeBron
Nobody
chair
else can get back
in the
in here.
ESPN commercial.
Oh, yeah. Did somebody take my chair? Nicole, get out of my chair. All right. Nicole said 38-7.
I'm going to keep it pretty consistent. I'm going to say 42-10. I think Nebraska will get a couple. I probably stole your prediction.
No.
I think Nebraska will get a couple. It's a home opener. We've seen a lot of sloppy football this year. I think Ohio State will look better than the teams we've seen, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little miscommunication, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think 6 touchdowns is a pretty respectable home opener against another Big Ten opponent who is going to – they're at home, and they're going to come ready to play Ohio State.
I was just looking at the weather here to see what Saturday had in store before I throw out my prediction. Schlegel, do you have
That's
yours?
next level right there.
What is it? What's the
Well, we
weather?
got a few showers in the morning, then clouds lingering in the afternoon, so it'll be dry.
It sounds like it's late October in Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, 63-10.
We call that – whoa.
I'm going
Hey.
63-10. I think they want to score a lot of points and just let everybody know we're not messing around this year. We're coming for you. We're coming for your throat.
42, 63.
63-10.
Dang, I like the 10. Now, their kicker last year was Garbaggio from Nebraska. So
But they're new this year, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'll give him one. Maybe he misses one. And you always want to work those in. I'm going to put a field goal for Ohio State because we want to get the mechanics and see what we can do there.
If Schlegel had known anything about Nebraska's kicker, then you knew game week
Yeah,
prep was
game
on.
week is here. Yeah.
52-10.
52-10.
We'll go right in the middle. Look at that.
Yeah.
42, 52, 63.
Hey, is this Price is Right rules?
No, it can't be.
Well, by margin of victory. How about that?
All right, cool.
We'll figure it out.
Without going over.
Well, I think we're all pretty confident
what-
about the Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes are
So
gonna win.
did you go?
Yeah.
It's going to be 65-6.
Oh, you like it?
65 to 6. You think
No
they're gonna-
touchdown, huh?
they're
No
gonna score-
touchdowns for
No
Nebraska.
touchdown.
No.
Couple field goals.
I just
One being late in the game, probably. Just
This is what
They're
you
gonna
want.
get
You want
practice.
this to happen.
Scott Frost.
It's a blowout.
He's trying to
Starters
find
have
out
been
what
out
he's
for
got
2
at
quarters
kicker.
already.
Yeah.
He's worried about, is the kicker situation going to be
Yeah.
good? He's going
That
to
battle
need
was
that
heated.
down the
It's
road,
like,
Yeah,
no, you're not
yeah.
going to win the game.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to cover. Just send them out there.
Just pulling up on third downs to
put
kick a
something
field
through the
goal. We
uprights.
just need to get some practice for this guy.
Just, don't turn it over.
Yeah.
Put some points on the board.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, Scott Frost.
Just like the Bengals, right? 27-0. Oh, we're going to go for it twice and kick a field goal. Should have stopped us.
Hey, I'm not going to be conservative with my game picks. Ohio State is the most talented team in the
Yes.
country. Nebraska is closer to Rutgers than they are Penn State or anybody like that. So this is,
I agree.
I remember last year, everyone was talking about, we were having this conversation.
Casual.
Schlegel, Jay-Z, it was a fun, casual conversation. Like, all right, Nebraska's the first big test. They're going on the road, and Scott Frost has got them rolling, and it's going to be a primetime affair, 48-7. This has happened multiple times. Nebraska, it's great when they are a national powerhouse and competing, but man,
It was back in the 90s,
that's
wasn't
been,
it? Yeah,
that's been 25.
It's been a while.
So it's been 25 years
Yeah.
since they were a real powerhouse, and they're not going to be one on Saturday. I've got
No.
no problem saying it.
No, I don't think so either.
I concur, bro.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
we're all on the same page.
Bucks win big.
Bucks win big. We'll be back here to
Take
break
it to
it
the
down
bank.
next week at Roosters Lettermen Live. Week 1, Buckeyes against Nebraska. Saturday at the Horseshoe. If you can't be there, which I'm the only one at this table that will be.
Nobody can be there, right?
Then you're going to
Media
then you're going to be at Roosters.
Yes.
We're all excited, no matter where you're going to be, to watch on Saturday. The Big Ten season is here. Michael Bennett, Justin Zwick, Anthony Schlegel, and Nicole Cox. Appreciate everybody for joining us at Lettermen Row. I am just Austin Ward. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.